him achieve whatever he has achieved in his projects and his personal objective. Over to you, Harsha.
Yes, thank you, Narayan sir. And good afternoon to everyone, and also good morning and good evening based on the time zones for all the participants who have joined in. I welcome you all. And thanks, Narayan sir, Sandeep sir, for giving me this opportunity from TRIZAsia side to share my experience and journey about the business trees. So give me a moment. I'm sharing a short presentation just in support of what I am sharing with you, and then we will start with the discussion. Just give me a moment. Yeah, please excuse me for a moment. I'm trying to share my screen, which is taking a bit longer. Narayan sir, in the interest of the time, is
Yeah.
it possible to share from your side?
Yeah, I
Sorry
will
for
share.
that, but
No.
yeah, because we tried 10 minutes back, it worked. At this moment, I do not know why it's taking time. Yes, it is visible. Is it? Can you just make it full screen, or is it already full screen?
It is visible.
Okay. Yeah, it's better. For other participants, is it visible? So I can start accordingly. If somebody can just
It
volunteer
is
to.
visible.
Yeah. So thank you. And let me begin now. My name is Harsha Gangan. Narayan sir has given kind introduction about me. So basically, I am a commerce background, and I am a cost and management accountant from the Institute of Cost Accountants of India. My journey in my profession, and then how I got introduced to this concept of trees, and then later on how it increased my belief in using the trees knowledge along with the cost and management accounting. So these are the major points which I will share with you. As I said, that I'm a cost and management accountant, and so far I have worked in almost 4 organizations having the 25 years of experience. So primarily, cost and management work includes, which I will just show you. Narad sir, if you can move on to the next. Yeah. So as you can see on the screen, and many of you must be aware that as a cost and management accountant professional, we work closely with the business owners and managers at all levels for business controlling, working on financial feasibility, MIS, developing MIS, and ensuring that it gives the right information at the right time to the management at all levels for decision making, ensuring the internal controls and its structure, continuous analysis of financial statement. As in the volatile situation, we need to continuously monitor the performance, take the decisions, and sometimes course corrective actions, identifying the risk and doing the risk analysis. All these are the key areas in which cost and management accountant works, and I got an opportunity to work in different organizations in more or less all these areas. As an approach, what we have been doing for any new work, either in the same organization or in the new organization, first to know the business model, have a walkthrough about the processes in that particular organization in different functions. Suppose it is a manufacturing organization, naturally understanding the manufacturing process as an overview, not in absolutely technical detail, but these are the basic prerequisites of our work and with which we usually start. That is how we have learned along with our academics in our practical experience, and that we are following till date. So to know the business model, understand the process, if it is a process of manufacture or all other functions and the important processes within each function, say purchase, sales, production, logistics, etc. As a part of this work, when I was working in the escape, so at that time, one of the work areas included va- the validation of financial results or financial effects of certain projects. So at that time, many engineers, that being the engineering company, all those engineers were carrying out different projects. Uh, Hello, my voice is clearly audible to everyone.
Yes, yes, it is
Yeah,
very
just
clear.
I'm checking. Just I'm checking. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah. So, uh, as I was saying, that when we were interacting with the engineers and when they were working on different projects, either on a small scale, be small Kaizen, small improvement, or a big Six Sigma or design for change, many projects under the manufacturing excellence. So the validation of the financial calculation and the results or effects of that particular project. So that validation was a part of our job as a finance controller of the unit. At that time, as I said, our approach is always to understand the process, physically see, try to understand, and then as a non-technical person, and then try to correlate the numbers with the outcome of that project. That has been our approach, and that is always our approach as a part of our work. So in that process, whenever certain engineer used to come for validation of his calculation or validation of his project's result, naturally we used to go to the shop floor and try to understand what is done, what is the improvement done, and what was before and what is after, or with all those steps. While doing so, when Sri Furnace, who joined the organization and he was heading that sale, so at that time, first time I heard the term called trees and how the engineers were incorporating that concept with learnings from trees in their work and ensuring that whatever project outcome is there, which is for a sustainable, which is of a sustainable nature and which will give the certain results, and it is not just a result of trial and error, but it is a very structured approach to resolve the problems on the shop floor or machine or wherever it is. So that enhanced my interest to know more about the trees. And then with permission of my department or department head or finance head, I attended the workshop which was organized by Sri Furnace for the engineers community in our company. And it was so interesting that I could recollect what I have learned in the seventh or eighth standard in the book of physics and chemistry, because it was touching to the basic laws, and then it increased my belief that if I know how to apply the trees methodology along with the costing and management accounting work which I'm doing, naturally it will give me the comfort, or I can tell or I can discuss with the management with more conviction that these are the numbers, these are not mere financial calculation, but which are based on certain actions which are supported by very structured methodology, structured thinking, and logical thinking, and therefore the results will be sustainable and which will enable the management, or it will give confidence to the management while taking the particular decision. Because that is the workshop where I got to know more about trees in the sense what trees includes, that there are different terms, as all of us are aware, or maybe few people are new. They may be they might have heard about it. Then when we learn trees, naturally, what is super system, what is system, what is subsystem, what are the components. Very important is that what is the interaction between those components, what are the functions of those components, what are the contradictions, how to resolve that. All these things, terminology and their understanding and application, I found it very interesting. And moreover, I found it important to correlate with the core knowledge of cost and management accounting and finance knowledge which I have. And then I said, yes, I can learn more and use this knowledge in my profession, which can definitely give more concrete result, and which I can also tell with conviction. There the journey started. So Narayan sir, can you please move on to the next? Yeah, I have just captured few learnings for the purpose of this session. It is not about educating trees, but what appealed to me during this journey. That is what I have captured. So as you can see, that all organizations naturally would like to have their own place in the market, where there are a number of competitors. But the problem arises when the business challenges and the underlying technical problems are not correlated, and that I realize in such a way that when our initial days, when we used to do the calculations based on the inputs on the management, it used to be calculation, but with very meager knowledge, you can say. As we started working more in depth, then we realize that there is much more thing behind the numbers. Numbers will not tell everything unless you go behind the numbers, unless you try to go close to the process, close to the activity, and then you will get a confidence in the numbers. So that is how I could correlate that particular experience with this trees methodology, because which insists, or rather which is based on having the correct problem identification and then resolving by applying the basic natural laws and different tools and techniques. And that is how, and that is the moment, you can say, or those are few events through which I decided that I should take a formal education in trees. And where Shri again guided me, he said, to suit to your profession, you take the branch of business trees, which is, because all along we have been talking about the technical trees or the basic trees. So these business trees, and which is developed by Valery Shushkov, one of the trees masters, and under his guidance, I started learning business trees. And so far, I have completed 2 levels, and gradually I will be pursuing the next level. So, as the last statement, trees methodology addresses all these business needs and provides various tools and techniques of problem solving. How I'm learning more and how I'm correlating with my core profession, that I will explain with the help of further slides. Narayan sir, if you can move to the next, please. Yeah. So this is a very, I can say, this is a very core thing, which I have registered in my mind, that when we talk of any system and in its component in the trees terminology, naturally what we try to solve the problem means we try to increase the value of the system, and value of the system is made up by functionality divided by cost and harm. So when we increase this gap, functionality is improved, cost is reduced, then naturally the benefit of the system is sustainable and which is on a higher magnitude. So this I have, you can say, registered in my mind, that any problem if I am solving, any calculation if I am doing, with reference to n number of sensitivities or different thought processes which management is thinking, that okay, let me go this way, shall I take a new machine, shall I upgrade the machine, shall I take a do some acquisition of the relevant business, or shall I install a new plant itself. There are n number of the different decisions and the timings where company has to think of all the alternatives for the which is best suited for their future or future plans, and then move on. But in the volatile situation, naturally we need to check the financial calculation behind, based on certain assumption, based on the available information, based on the market study. So always the winner or the organization which takes a leap ahead, who can anticipate all these things well in advance, and which goes closer to the reality based on the market information, based on the supporting financial calculations, and that organization takes a bigger leap, and then they can sustain. So, as all of us are maybe aware, that S curve journey tells us that if you must identify where you stand on the S curve, and then you must know where to move on to the next S curve. So all these things definitely gets reflected in the financial calculation. Or if I can see the financial calculation with that thing in mind, I can judge it better. I can give more concrete inputs to the management for decision making. That is how I started believing in this methodology, and I started pursuing it. Can we move to the next, please? Yeah, I hope it is visible, not very tiny. Now, application of business trees. So far, whatever I have learned, what I have started practicing, how to start. Okay, if somebody asks me, then I will say, okay, when we approach to a company, or when I was employed in a company, so when we are given certain problem or a situation to analyze. Naturally, financial numbers, this is the first input which we analyze for, say, current year and past 3 years, 5 years, various financial parameters, manufacturing parameters to look at, to know the financial performance of the company, journey so far, health of the financial health of the company based on the balance sheet, cash flow, etc. In the through the business trees angle, when I'm trying to apply that knowledge, first to identify the problem, inputs come in different ways. When you're talking to that entrepreneur or the organization or the management, they will say, oh yes, we have a number of problems, operational problem like rising cost, difficulties in cash flow management, then reducing business share, weak strategic planning towards preparing for future market trends, weak internal control structure. We don't know where the leakage is because we do not have a proper authorization policy, or there are authorization policies, but there are certain deviations because that is not strong enough, etc. So such problems we have in our, you can say, corporate experience. We have in small or bigger, you can say, magnitude. We have experienced that, we have learned out of it, and then we have worked towards resolving this problem in a concrete way. So such problems come to the surface when we talk to the management or the company. Then our independent analysis of the financial performance, which I have said that financial ratios tells a story, then cost breakup, then scrap loss, rework percentages, then product costing, pricing, that plays a very important role, and comparative analysis with competitors' financial performance. So when I have the inputs in all these manners, then now the next step, yes, how to identify the problem and how to apply the business trees tool or a technique to it. Can we move to the next? These are the tools which I have learned in level 1 as well as level 2. Level 1 was introductory, level 2 was slightly in detail. It is a root cause analysis RCA plus to just differentiate from the RCA, original RCA. Function based innovation, inventive standards and its use, S curve, functional evolution. The terms are similar as you will find from the technical trees, because the foundation is the technical trees. How those are molded for solving the business trees problem, that I will demonstrate with one example. Yeah, can we go to the next, please? These are the few examples which all of us, in one or the other manner, are aware that annual sales performance, first case, annual sales performance actually is less than the budget for 2 quarters consistently, or consecutive quarters, the performance is not as per the budget. That is naturally an indicator or alarm for the organization that, oh, what's going wrong? We have done our budget, we have broken it into quarterly budget, but 2 consecutive quarters are not, we are not able to achieve the budgeted results. What is the reason? We must analyze, and then we can take the course corrective action so that we can make up for that lost value or the results and ensure that the annual performance will be equal to budget, or definitely if we can, it will surpass the budget. Correct. So all such things management always thinks. Other examples I have taken: product or service positioning, no regular reviews or market research with reference to competition, for which multi window technique, all you must be having that, all of you must have, you know, referred it sometime. That's multi window technique is also quite helpful, but I'm not touching that here. Customer complaints management, how do we receive the complaints, how do we address the complaints, how we ensure that such complaints do not occur again and again and not in large numbers, whether there is a process. So this is one of the problem, because finally everything is meant for customer as a, uh, as a, you can say, provider of the product or a service. We ensure that customer satisfaction is ensured. Vendor rejection, percentage in key raw materials, consistent but no reduction. Okay, consistently we are having 2% of reduction, 2% of no rejection. Sorry. However, after making a lot of attempts, we are not in a position to bring it down to 1.5%. That could be one of the problems. Then, are we addressing that problem correctly at a right point? That can be a concern for organization, because when it is a huge organization, that half percent will also matter. When suppose material cost is 50% of the product cost, it will matter. Consistent delayed material receipt from a supplier of major raw material, it there is a cost. Frequent breakdown of key machine causing delay in production process. So all these things affects our deliverables, and so in that entire value chain, you know, our product or service for the customer, its timing, its pricing, all these things matter. So I have taken couple of a few problems just to demonstrate that yes, we come across many such problems. And now for the first one, I will just demonstrate how one of the business trees tools can be applied. The way I have learned, I will try to demonstrate. Yeah, I'm sorry if it is too tiny, but I had to fit in one page so that at least you can get an overview. Uh, I'm sure a few of the attendants must must have, you know, seen this. This is a root cause analysis, RCA plus as we call, and each rectangle and the sign attached to it has certain meaning. So for everyone's benefit, I am just saying this particular first rectangle in brown with negative sign, it's negative. Yeah. Then there is a positive effect. So that is how I will try to just brief you, because otherwise it may not be visible for you. And yeah, so first rectangle is giving the negative effect, then oval shape, that green is giving the positive effect. Then there is a contradiction in yellow rectangle, then brown with two negative signs, that is the unchangeable negative effect, which is beyond the control of the organization or the people who are handling the system. And there is some assumptive effect. So here what I'm trying to analyze, the first problem is, as I said, the sales of the 2 consecutive quarters is, actual sale is less than the budget. So that is a negative effect. naturally. Then I am trying to go into the deep depth of it by using the RCA plus technique. It can be impact of adverse quantity and mix variance. Whatever quantity we have projected in those 2 quarters, we could not achieve that sales, or the mix has been also adverse, because every you can say product must be having its positioning as far as the price is concerned with the customer, and certain products which are profitable, which I might have budgeted in certain quantity, those are not sold, but some other products are sold. So all such mix also creates the can create adverse impact, and which is a problem in this scenario. So that quantity and mix variance is adverse, not exactly as per budget. So it is giving me the negative result. Or if there is another reason, it can be both quantity and mix variance adverse, as well as price variance is also adverse, means the budgeted price or budgeted price increase I could not implement, and therefore I had to sell forcibly with the existing price structure, and definitely it was not as per my plan, because in plan or in budget I had projected that I will be able to increase the price, but I could not do. Situation did not support me, or the competition did not allow me to increase the price as per my plan. Okay, because of the volatile situation. So that adverse price impact or price variance as compared to budget, that created the negative impact on the total sales value, okay, as compared to budget. So if I am looking at a problem of sales, actual sales, total actual sales value lesser than the budget, it can be a composite impact of both quantity and mix variance adverse compared to budget and price, or it can be impact of one of the elements also. Assuming I could sell exactly in the same quantity or in the same proportion or a mix percentage, but I could not achieve the price increase, or I could not implement the price increase. That is possible. So as I said, with combined impact, or either of the elements can make the negative impact on the sales, and finally it has resulted in the adverse variance as compared to budget. But okay, shall we stop there? No, because when it comes to sales quantity and mix variance adverse, there are further drilling down. So you may be able to see, for all the audience, you may be able to see just the rectangles, but I am trying to explain, and I hope you will be able to correlate, because the visibility may be poor because the letters seems to be very tiny in the screen. So when it comes to on the left hand side, you are seeing quantity and mix variance. I hope so far my explaining about the diagram is okay. Can you see this pointer? This is a problem. First, I have identified two components, quantity and mix. And second is about, on the right side, it is about price. On the left side, if you can see, there are four more arrows and rectangles attached to it, so which are further drilling down as far as the root cause. Quantity and mix variance, that adverse impact is created by availability issue from the company side. Second is market entry of new competitive product, which was not in our control, but supplier could aggressively launch its product and flood the market in such a way that naturally my it did not go as per my anticipation. I had anticipated that new entry will come, but not in that aggressive manner, or in that way, and so which was not in my control, but it created the adverse impact on my sales quantity or mix. Fall in the demand at customer side. Maybe customer has found, as a result of maybe disruptive innovation, customer has found some alternative to my product, better product, maybe in quality terms, or more cheaper, whatever, n number of reasons. But it has affected my quantity and mix variance, and increasing customer complaints. Okay, I could sell in time, I could reach out to the customer, but because of some internal quality problems, I'm not able to deliver the up to the mark product, and that's how customer complaints started increasing. That could be one reason that then the repeat customer did not turn out as I was expecting. One of the reasons. When I'm now, if you can see on the left hand side, there is a oval shape green color shape, and yellow rectangle. So what it says that availability issue, okay, which is a negative effect, but it is one dimension of certain contradiction. So in yellow, there is a contradiction that we, as an organization, we have made a conservative plan in a sense that I have ensured that there should not be overstock. I can maintain only minimum level of the stock. So I have achieved one positive effect, but at the same time, it gave rise to another negative effect. And availability issue is that it is that negative effect coming out of one when I'm trying to solve one contradiction. That contradiction was what is my best plan, and I said okay, let me be conservative because competition is too much, and let me play safe. Let me not block my money in the stock by overproducing it. So I have achieved one positive effect that there is no overstock, my money is not blocked. But at the same time, when market needed certain products or certain variants were not available with you, and that created the availability issue, which ultimately affected your entire quantity or the sales quantity as per the budget, and naturally it created the adverse effect on the entire sales value. Yeah, because when we say value, it is a function of quantity multiplied by price. On the right hand side, you will see there is one more yellow rectangle with two, and also there is one rather two yellow rectangles and two, you can say, oval shape green color positive effect. So I will just quickly touch those. So one negative effect, as I said, affecting the quantity is that increasing customer complaints. Now, what gave rise to this negative effect? There was a contradiction that to use of cheaper substitute raw material. Company decided that in the process of cost saving measures, let us try to substitute the material with a cheaper source. Let's try. Okay, on quality front, they satisfied, as an organization, we satisfied ourselves. But maybe when that product is tried by the customer, okay, he could not get the same effect as it was earlier, and that naturally it gave rise to customer complaints. But that is a negative effect. So when I was trying to look at the contradiction of using cheaper substitute material, rather that was an action, but that gave rise, that was a contradiction because it, on one side, it gave me the savings in the material cost. However, on the another side, negative effect is that it increased the customer complaints, and as a result, it affected my overall sales quantity for those 2 quarters. If we move further right, again there is some contradiction. One contradiction is that, which is now about pricing, to defer timing of the price increase. Okay, when to do the price increase? That was a contradiction because I'm seeing that customer is aggressively coming and he's giving, you can say, a better price to the customer. He's offering various incentives, and that is creating a hurdle for me to introduce the price revision as I had a plan. So I said immediately, as a management, we took a decision that okay, let us defer the timing of price increase. Even though we had planned in the budget, let us defer it. Let us hold for a moment. So it created a positive impact in such a way that no adverse effect on demand. Customers are knowing that yes, there is no price increase from our organization. Okay, but as compared to my budget or my plan, there is adverse impact because I had budgeted certain revenue considering this price. Okay, but which did not materialize at that moment of time. So which I had to defer forcibly, but it created adverse effect on my budgeted revenue, and so I am seeing the gap between actual and budget. Right? So the contradiction situation is when to do the price increase. We decide to defer it. It gave rise to one, I mean, that is a contradiction. It gave rise to one positive effect that, okay, customer did not go away from me because I had not increased the price. They stayed with me. However, I could not convert that price increase into reality as per my plan, and so it created variance as compared to the budget. One more contradiction about the price variance, that is the last yellow rectangle you can see, reactive pricing decisions. Okay. So when it comes to price, naturally budgeted price do not take place, a price rise does not take place, then it's compelled to reduce the price with reference to competition. That is also a situation many organizations face. We know that. And change in the tax structure. Tax structure is something beyond every organization's domain because it is by the government, so or by the policies. So, but if that is affecting for certain amount of time, naturally company is not able to pass on. Suppose the every tax increase, then company has to bear that, and it creates the adverse effect on the revenue. But that we are keeping aside because that is beyond our control. Right? Now, what is in our control? Price increase was in our control as per our plan with certain basis. However, competition, as the thing started rolling out, the organization was compelled to reduce the price with reference to competition. Suddenly, the competitor aggressively decided to give 5% price cut. So my plan was to increase the price. On the other hand, now I'm in a situation that my competition is reducing the price. Naturally, I cannot increase. That is one thing. But I was forced to reduce my price to certain extent so as to offer something to the customer, because otherwise customer will actually shift his requirement from me or my organization to the competition. So what was the contradiction? Reactive pricing decision which I had to take. It gave rise to what? It gave rise to one negative effect, as I said, that we were compelled to reduce price, but at the same time I could hold my customer. Right? So with this small example, again, excuse me, because it was so tiny to really read everything, but I tried to uh, explain that. And if the diagram I would have made it big, then you would have seen in pieces, and then also it would not, it could not give you the entire picture. But now at least I could say that one problem identified, and then we tried to go to the root cause till we come to the situation where there is a contradiction, means which action created the contradiction, or that one action is giving rise to one positive effect and one negative effect. So those yellow boxes depicts that, and which I tried to explain. To identify a solution to the problem, first we need to know what is the root cause analysis, and one of the techniques, so RCA plus I have used here to identify the root cause for the problem where the actual sales is less than the budget. Can we move to the next one? Yeah, maybe Narayan sir, excuse me, if you can go to two slides backward. So I will just correlate before I end my conversation, and then we can discuss further. One more, please. Yeah, here I have demonstrated in this short session that, okay, how RCA plus can be applied to real life problems or the real problems which we face in our respective organization. There are other techniques which can be applied based on the nature of the problem, then how depth we want to address the problem, what type of the problem. So identifying the problem, identifying the system, its component, identifying the functions of each component, identifying the interactions, the same method as which is based on the technical trees. but those are applied now more to the business decisions in such a way that we can measure its impact in financial terms. That is what I'm learning from business trees, and I'm trying to apply that knowledge to real life scenarios through my profession. So, as I said, initially when I got to know about trees, I started, I mean, it created a belief, or I strongly started believing that yes, I can, if I learn more, I can apply this knowledge. I can combine this knowledge along with my core knowledge of costing, management, accounting, and finance. And then I can look at the situation or the solutions and the relevant financial calculations, which will enable me to tell to the management or to the client now with more convincing mode that yes, there are three options to take certain decision, but this option, if we go by, because of these elements, which will give certain result, second will give certain result, and the third, but the best solution will be say second, because of a number of factors, because those are based on certain methodical study through the trees, through the business trees, and application of that knowledge. That is what I had thought of sharing with you in this 30-40 minutes. And I hope I could convey what I wanted to share with you. And maybe you can ask certain questions or we can openly discuss. Narayan sir, Sandeep sir, I'm through with my speech, and I'm requesting all the audience to whomsoever want to ask something, know something more, I'm ready to share.
Okay, thank you, Harsha, for this short presentation and explaining about the financial aspects and how TRIZ can be applied into the financial area of a company. There's a question coming on the chat box, so probably if please, in case if you can just unmute yourself and also ask the question. So I'll read this particular first question. I am interested in applying TRIZ to making patents in engineering domain. Can anyone suggest me any good institution where TRIZ is taught and also their program structure? So probably we can reach out to you offline, offhand, or probably you can write a mail to us. Probably we can take this question offline. And in case anybody has any question with respect to financial applications of TRIZ or TRIZ in financial domain or business domain or anything with respect to what Harsha can answer, probably you can just post or ask your question, unmute yourself.
Hi, Mr. Narayan. Thanks
Yeah.
for organizing. This is Sudha Basu here. Hope you
Hi,
remember.
Sudha. Long time.
Yeah, long time, long time. And thank you so much, Mr. Harsha. Wonderful session. Really enjoyed. Just some quick questions. Uh, it's really very pleasing to see that someone from the finance domain getting into trees, and congratulations to you on that. So,
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
have worked in the engineering side as well. Now I currently work in the business side. So curious to know that some of the operational metrics, perhaps are a bit easier, area for application of the trees principles. But the world of finance, where we have so many financial ratios where things are, used to measure performance, and like lead indicators of some
Yes.
future scenarios. So and these ratios are kind of hard coded. They're written on the rock kind of a situation.
Yes. Yeah.
So how do you handle such situations, even in your real life scenario, where you have convinced your colleagues or your senior management or anyone, the board of a company, that this is something that can be explored and can deliver results.
Certainly. Certainly. I mean, thank you, Mr. Sudha. Nice to know you. And good to know that you have both flavors, that technical side as well as finance side. So nice to know that. Yeah. And about this application of business trees. Okay. As I had explained, that when I first got to know about trees and later on how I pursued and how I am pursuing. It took me, of course, almost now you can say I got to know about somewhere in 2012 or 13, so almost 10 years. And it took me certain time first to digest that, think over it, learn in depth, methodically, and then apply. Correct. So when I'm approaching to a client, naturally, first of all, usually now I'm saying because I'm now working, working as a independent professional and we have a partnership firm. So from that angle, I'm saying when I'm recently we approached to one client. So initially when we did his assessment, which is based on his current process, financial analysis, financial data analysis, then assessment of the internal control structure. So based on conventional tried and tested methods, we have done our study and shown him certain areas based on our interpretation, and what we showed that here we need to improve something. How to improve that? Yes, there is a technical, you can say, technical knowledge required because it is there to their process. But then through this questioning of the trees, because with this background, I can say with conviction that when we were asking them, our questioning was reflecting. It was maybe initially I did not have to tell him that, see, this is the business trees. Okay, because it was first building the confidence, first giving him the insight of where he stands today. He's standing, for example, his need was that yes, I'm a set of so and so organization, and tomorrow now I want to grow big. Okay, as if I suppose after a couple of years or after 5 years I want to be a listed company. Then we told him, with this kind of working or this kind of your current way of working, you will not be able to reach there, because when it comes to a listed company, as all of us know, that lot of statutory requirements, regulations, all those come into picture, compliances, correct. And to satisfy to all investors, board of directors, internal management, local management, right, we need to have our system robust. We need to have our problem solving, strategic thinking in place, and that cannot just happen by judgment. That is what message we strongly give. It will not happen by judgment, because sometimes we get a message from the owner, suppose, yes, we are doing this business for a number of years, so we know in and out of it, correct. But the situation differs, and as we know recently, all of us are experiencing that the speed of change is quite fast. In that scenario, whether my product will sustain, whether because of the disruptive technology that product will go obsolete, it will go out of the race. So to know all these things, we introduce one by one each, you can say, concept that okay, then have you analyzed yourself on the S curve? Then let us do that. Have you found the root cause analysis in this manner? No, let us do that. As I demonstrated one for today's session. Have you done the function analysis? If problem is specific to certain system, okay. Have you identified all those components? Have you identified done the interaction analysis? So with one step each, we try to increase the dialogue and take the client to the level where, not necessarily by using the treats terminology or just by initially saying that no, we are going to apply something as business treats, because then he may say, oh, this is something new, some new technique. Then he may try to be slightly away or behind. Instead, gradually we try to take him to that level, because he is the owner of his business, and we have to appreciate that he has brought it to this level. He has taken all those risks all these years. With that appreciation, but at the same time, with the different eyes or with the different goggle, you have to see that problem and make him to see that, because we know internally that yes, when we look it through tree's eyes, definitely there is no, we do not leave any stone unturned, nothing is left behind. Nothing is left to trial and error because we go very systematically, methodically. Am I right, Suddha, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So
So
I
that's
suppose
the way I
maybe
understood that. Yeah,
bit lengthy answer, but what I'm trying to say, it is a process which we
yes,
have to work to reach to
right,
this end result. And once,
right.
yeah, as it took me certain time to reach to that level of understanding, and then I started believing very strongly. If suppose client comes to that level, say after 1 year, then there is no looking backward because he know that this is my DNA now. I have to get into problem solving only with this method.
Absolutely. So there's quite amount of effort that needs to be put in terms of the
Yes,
problem discovery or reaching a consensus, from
yes,
the board to the shop floor level that this is really a
yes,
problem, and
yes,
everyone agrees that needs to be solved with topmost
yes,
priority. So this
yes.
awareness creation and this consensus building is very, very
Correct,
important.
correct, correct.
And I have faced challenges myself, trying to do
Yeah,
this in some occasions. So thanks for
certainly.
this wonderful
Yeah, yeah.
explanation, Mr. Harsha. Just a quick follow-up question. So I really like the pricing problem statement and how you went ahead and explained the contradiction of
Yes.
timing the pricing decision right. So I have
Yeah.
faced this situation also. So maybe I
Okay.
was like a bit kind of distracted when I was hearing. So can you just quickly refer that how was the final solution looking in terms of after you framed the no contradiction in both two no that those two variables, that either you time it no too early, you produce more no, or you uh, do reactive kind of pricing, which is also bad for your business.
Yeah.
So how was the final solution looking? So if you can just briefly
Uh,
uh,
yes. See, as we saw, I will just display that thing. Narayan sir, may I request you to just display
Yeah,
that
and
particular last sheet?
yeah, sure. And
So
Harsha, you need to be quick because we
certainly,
hardly have
yeah, we
five
are
minutes.
having only 5 minutes now. Yeah,
Yeah,
I will quickly answer, Mr. Sudha, or maybe we can connect later for more talk in detail. Yeah, I will be glad. Yeah, so Sudha, as we can see, there are four contradictions identified. Now, while taking a decision, how
right,
we'll do that, or how we have done that, or how is to do that, we'll put four sensitivities. If I do the aggressive, production, then definitely there will not be availability issue. Okay, how much I can do? Maybe with one scenario, I can see what will be financial impact, what will be my inventory carrying cost, what is the rate of obsolescence, and so on. Similarly, for all these contradictions and relevant actions, I can create the sensitivities and see what is the financial benefit, or what we call it is the cost and benefit analysis, and then what is, you can say, best possible solution. As a collective decision of the management, we feel that okay, come what may, we will raise the
right,
price. Let my quantity, or I mean the demand drop by say 0.5%, but I will, because I am looking at a longer range. If I cannot increase now, definitely I will not be able to increase after 6 months also, because situation may be something else. So let me increase the price. My customers will stay with me, certain customers will go away, but it will not definitely be very damage, I mean big damage. So such decisions I can take, but based on that calculation which are addressing these contradictions and the relevant actions. So I can evaluate those sensitivities,
right,
as
right.
we call, and then we can
So
we
on
proceed
each of
accordingly.
the sensibilities, you do a payoff matrix and then you choose the
Correct, correct, correct,
candidate.
correct, correct, correct,
Thank
correct.
you, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Sudha.
thanks Sudha, and thanks Harsha for this wonderful answer. And any more questions from the team who attended? Any questions? Because this is a different topic altogether, TRIZ for finance, So any questions coming from the team? Okay. So Sudha, so sorry, Harsha, you are
Yes,
saying, like basically how it's a what do you say, personal question, like how did you see yourself before and after TRIZ?
yes, I will quickly answer that. Before trees, as I said, and as we are learning from student stage till say amateur professional, let's say. So it was like, okay, certain management in throwing certain requirements, certain challenges, and we are doing the calculation by applying the finance knowledge, costing management, accounting knowledge, etc. When with the trees understanding, when we look at the same situation, we can ourselves question that scenarios much more in detail, and we can discuss much more in detail with the management rather than only receptive. Management is saying, see, you are a finance person, suppose, and this is our technical decision. You just tell us what is the financial impact of this decision. Instead, now we could be party to that decision, saying that, okay, but have you seen this? Have you analyzed this way? Because of this trees understanding, that with that critical thinking, okay, we could we could ask more questions in depth and more relevant. So it is not just like receiving certain information, working in Excel sheet or in any other tool and giving to the management, but now giving our adding value by questioning to it, giving more commentary upon that, that okay, if we decide to go this way, there could be one, two, three effects. We could add more value to it. That is what I felt as a difference before and after going trees.
Okay, wonderful. And we have just last 3 minutes left. So anybody has any question to be asked to Harsha? Any question? Implementation of TRIZ, how anything? Okay, so in that case, probably Harsha, what I will request you to do is just before we wind up for this particular session, just a concluding remarks from your side. Why and how TRIZ and how it's going to benefit this particular fraternity as the non-technical domain of the industry. So just some concluding remarks from your side.
Yes, in my speech, somewhere I said that throughout this journey in my corporate experience, what I learned, because all along my seniors were basically from, say, technical side, factory manager or manufacturing head. Of course, there was a dotted line reporting to finance head and sometimes direct also. But what I mean to say, because of the dual reporting, the questions which used to come from the finance head, question which we used to get from the factory team, were of a different nature. And then acting as a liaison to ensure that everything is happening by following the finance rules, okay, as per the company's rules or as per the given statutory rules. At the same time, ensuring that we have a proper communication with the factory teams, non-financial teams, to tell them the importance of financial numbers. In that process, what we learned is to go behind the numbers. Numbers, merely numbers. 100. I'm just saying 100. Will not say anything. My sale is 100. Will not say anything. When I'm trying to do some analysis with reference to past data, with reference to my budget, then it will give me the meaningful message out of it, whether I'm improving, not improving, deteriorating. And that is how we started questioning and looking at every number, be it from financial data. If it is a material cost, as I said, then look into the usage, scrap, processed scrap, quality of the material, because quality and price, those are also associated, and how it will affect your final product consumption. So it gave me insight, and of course I'm still learning, so I'm improving upon that. But definitely trees help me to understand in a scientific way, because everything is finally measured in numbers. That is the truth. But how the numbers arrive, those just doesn't come out of thin air. Those are the impacts of all such small actions, reaction, some positive effect, negative effect. If I know where it can affect positively, negatively, then I will know where to control. Otherwise, I will be just a recipient of the numbers, and I will have some basic commentary upon that. Oh, price increase did not happen, but why it did not happen? Unless I go into depth, I cannot give any value addition to it. Otherwise, based on numbers, I can just say sales dropped. But why? Because of the quantity. The quantity we could not achieve, price we could not achieve. That could be very, very, you can say, basic analysis. But if I am analyzing in this manner, as I have told, then definitely it will give me more conviction, more insight, and which will be more convincing to the management and decision makers. Yeah, I tried to summarize. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, no problem, Harsha. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for this wonderful session. I am sure the audience over here would have just got a gist about how TRIZ can be applied into the non-technical domain, that is, especially into the financial sectors and to the business sector. So, in case
Yes.
the audience has got any query, please feel free to write us back, or you have Harsha's coordinates. So, please reach out to him or to us. We will definitely try to answer all your queries. Thank you once again for joining this TRIZ Chapter 6. The Chapter 7 will be scheduled on the 29th of July, same time, that is 4 o'clock in the evening Indian Standard Time. So you'll get an invitation and the details regarding the next speaker very soon. So till then, stay tuned and have a wonderful weekend ahead. Take
Thank
care.
you,
Have a good
Narayan
day.
sir. Thank you,
Take care.
Sandeep sir, and thanks to